I worked with a brand last year. They had great reviews, they had decent copy, okay photos, and yet they could not break through to page 1. And then with a small tweak that we're going to get to in a minute, they managed to completely turn things around, rise in the ranks, and set their sales on fire. I'll tell you exactly what that was later in this video. Hi, I'm Emma Shermer-Tamir. I am the CEO and co-founder of Marketing by Emma. And since 2016, we've helped over 2,500 brands turn into top performers online. Today, I'm sharing the exact 3-part framework that we use to diagnose what's really wrong, to rebuild trust with Amazon, and to unlock hidden ranking signals that most sellers ignore. So step 1 is that we need to diagnose the real problem. When it comes to the question of ranking, most sellers automatically assume that the issue has to do with keywords. But it's not always a keyword problem. So here are the questions that you need to ask. 1, are people even seeing your listing? Or 2, are they seeing it and choosing to click into another product instead? This is where data comes in to help us begin to dig in and figure out what exactly is going on. You can pull data directly from Amazon reports, or you can use a tool like Helium 10 or Data Dive to start digging into things a bit more. And so you need to be asking, are you indexing for the right keywords? In other words, does Amazon really understand what your product is and how to properly categorize it? What is your click-through rate? In other words, assuming that you're indexing properly, how many people, when they see your product coming up for their query, choose to click into your product specifically? What is your unit session percentage? This is very similar to your conversion rate, and this is helping to indicate how well you are actually converting those clicks into buying customers. And then your review average. In other words, how are customers or potential customers perceiving your reputation? If you have a really low average review of 2.5 or 3 stars, it is going to become increasingly difficult to turn the tides without first addressing that component. And this is why these questions are so important to answer, because if you're indexed, but your click-through rate is trash, that's not a ranking issue. That's a trust issue. And if your click-through rate, aka CTR, is solid, but your conversions are weak, that's a content issue. We'll fix that in step 3. And trust me, the biggest content killer, most people don't even know they're doing it, but I am getting ahead of myself. We'll get there in a minute. And by the way, if you want some expert eyeballs to tell you what you're missing, get your free listing analysis. You can go to marketingbyemma.com/free analysis or click the link below. So now on to step 2. We've figured out what the problem is. Now it's time to rebuild relevance with intent-driven keywords. So at this point, it's probably safe to assume that even if your click-through rate is okay, you're still not getting the exposure that you need, likely because you are not able to drive conversions on the high-value keywords that you need to in order to gain momentum and signal to Amazon that you are a reliable, trustworthy, excellent choice for customers that are searching for that particular phrase. In order to do that, you need to understand that your listing is not just a place to stuff in a bunch of keywords. It is a signal system to Amazon that tells them exactly who your product is for. So here is what you need to do. You need to identify longer tail, highly relevant keywords with strong conversion potential. You need to rewrite your title to focus on clarity and your most important keyword terms. And then you need to make sure that the rest of your content in your listing is built to reinforce why your product is the best choice for those keywords. Another little mistake that I see brands make all the time in this step is choosing keywords that on the surface seem like they are highly relevant, but they are not actually the keywords that their target customer is going to be using to describe the product. In other words, you're potentially training Amazon to show your product to the wrong people. And then if they're the wrong people, then they're less likely to want to buy your product. And then when they do buy your product, they're more likely to have a negative experience and leave a negative review. See how this cycle, yes, it can help build momentum when done correctly, and just as easily, it can send you quickly down the wrong slide, and you can really set yourself up for a lot of challenging factors to then have to push through, which we don't want to do any of that. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this, because this is just a short overview right now, I have documented my entire keyword research and selection process, and I will be sure to link those videos down below. They are a must watch for anybody that wants to find success on Amazon. So step 3 is we need to fix the conversion leak, because as we've already spoken about, the more that you are able to convert on the right keywords, the more that Amazon takes that as a signal that you are a product to show to a broader group of people. And that's how you begin to build that organic traction that is so valuable and important if you want to get to page 1. At the end of the day, Amazon ultimately cares about one thing. Can you sell a product that makes customers happy? And if your listing looks like every other generic competitor out there, it won't be able to do that. So you need to ask yourself, does your main image stop the scroll? Do your bullets communicate the most important benefits and features of your product that a customer must know to make a confident buying decision? And are you telling a story that creates connection, that makes your customers feel seen and understood? But even that only works if your premium A+ content supports and elevates your message, which brings us to our bonus step. Boost credibility with premium A+ content and a razor sharp customer avatar. If your visuals and voice are not targeted to the right audience, which we've teased a little bit earlier in the video, Amazon knows. And this is becoming even more significant as AI gets increasingly more integrated into the discovery and buyer process, because it's not just about helping the customer understand your product, it's also about helping the AI understand your product so that it can surface it to the right customer when that customer is searching for a product like yours. So this part is becoming increasingly more critical as we move into this next phase of heavily AI influenced e-commerce. So here is what really makes a difference. You need to really take every single piece of your listing and write it to speak directly to your customer avatar. This listing should be like piercing into that person's soul and make them feel like no other solution could possibly be right, because this just gets them so well. You need to think about their pain points, their preferences, and their specific psychology, and then how you can speak to them and craft things in a way for maximum impact. And you can only do that by being hyper specific and knowing exactly who your customer is. You cannot try to speak to a broad group of people and bring in that level of specificity necessary to really move the needle, compete aggressively in the way that you need to gain traction. Premium A+ content is also such a vital piece of this whole puzzle. I all the time see people asking the question, of, is Premium A Plus worth it? Do I really need it? And the answer is emphatically yes. There are so many parts of Premium A Plus content that can really move the needle as you are thinking about ways of being able to increase your conversion rate, which, as we've already spoken about, is one of the key drivers to help build momentum so that you can rank in the way that you need to. Things like rich visuals and comparison charts are just some of the reasons why Premium A Plus content is a must for serious Amazon sellers. By this point, you might be wondering, but Emma, you mentioned this tweak that you helped a client make that totally changed everything for them. And that tweak that I mentioned, it all comes down to clarity. They got crystal clear on exactly who their customer was and who their customer wasn't. And then they used that to elevate their Premium A Plus content to take it from something that on the surface looked good, but was very generic, and transformed it into something that had the power to stand out, convert the right customers, and then they were truly off to the races. So if you're not ranking, this is your 3-step fix. Diagnose whether you have a traffic or conversion problem, rebuild relevance with the right keywords, and then fix your content leaks. These are the 3 things that you must do. And sure, there might be shortcuts that you can take, but there's also one last piece that we haven't spoken about yet that's really important, and that is your PPC strategy. Even the best listings will struggle to rank if they do not have an advertising strategy built to support their goals. The top spots on the search results page are sponsored placements. So if you want to outrank even the best organic performers and to grab more real estate, because this gives you the potential to have your product showing up at least twice on the search results page, then having a strong advertising strategy is absolutely essential. And Amazon sponsored product ads are some of the easiest and most effective ad types to start with. And not only that, but in the video that should be popping up right here now or in just a moment, you can learn everything you need to run your first sponsored product ad or to improve that strategy if you're not driving the results that you need to. This is such an integral part of really building that momentum to launch your products. So you better click this video right now. I better see you over there. In the meantime, don't forget to grab your free listing analysis down below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.